Let's go. Let's go.
Can you see anyone else joining that party? I mean, can Jorge Lorenzo win a race, in your opinion, in his first full season? Can those Yamahas make that step forward? Will Rins be a championship contender? Or if you were
racing at the Spanish Grand Prix in Jerez, this was the motorcycle that Valentino Rossi was riding out on circuit earlier on. A technical failure. Initial reports were that the number 46 Rossi had taken a tumble in Jerez. That was incorrect. He did just suffer a mechanical problem, but Rossi was pretty underwhelmed about the two engines that they tested in Valencia. Steve, happy with the first spec, was hoping that the second spec was going to be another step forward, just like Honda did. Not the case. He said he could barely tell the difference in performance between the two engines he tried in Valencia. They're running the exact same spec motors here this week. And quite clearly, Valentino Rossi's comments there, post-Valencia, and at the end of day one here today in Jerez, it's not enough to solve their problems.
Well, there is the bike. Post-crash, obviously. His new beloved Suzuki in bits.
Yeah, quite fortunate, Steve. Turn 7, I think the crash he had this morning, you can see that GSXR quite badly damaged. So fortunately, I think Joan Mir lucky to walk away relatively unscathed. If you're going to have your first MotoGP crash, well, you might as well make it a fast one. And turn 7 in Jerez.
Well, he's okay from what I gather. The bike probably needs a bit of a tidy up, as we see some footage here of the rookie who impressed in Valencia a couple of weeks ago. I think we're going to be seeing plenty more of the 2017 Moto3 World Champion. However, earlier in the day, before he destroyed one of his factory Suzukis, he actually created a video for us presenting his bike. So let's go and take a look now at Joan Mir presenting his 2019 Suzuki.
Slowly, you know, methodically gone through some work. David Tardozzi said they've got engine stuff to play with, but really chassis-wise, they want to, reading between the lines, they're working on that corner speed and turning of the bike. And there's a lot of that sort of hand signals in the garage, and the riders come in and they're going like, that's what they're working on. And yeah, but I can really feel Danilo, he's super proud, you know, as Italian to be in, it must be like being in a Ferrari team, you know, for an Italian, or the national football team, as I mentioned. That you can tell that he's super determined, and good on him. Yeah, both Ducati guys goes on the outside of the frame now, and it's because they've got a new air duct that you would have spotted at the last test, and I think that takes up so much room, they've had to put the wiring on the outside of the frame, so it's a really quick way to notice that they're on the 19 bike. There's a lot more to the 19 bike than that, but for example, you can see the whole steering head's completely different, and the Honda guys are saying they're testing engine stuff as well. I've seen Marquez and Lorenzo both get going fast. It's the first time we've seen Lorenzo going fast since his injury. He was going really well, and then I saw them having a run together, and I thought Mark had done a sneaky and got behind Jorge to have a look at him, but they both went, you know, riding together, swapping, having a look at each other. So a bit of teamwork going on there. Taka is clearly a happy boy, you know, getting off the satellite Honda, which you know what I think about those poor guys that have to ride them in the last. He's got straight on. Carl's bikes have moved, you know, sides of the garage across to Taka. I checked on that, and it's Carl's actual bikes from this year, and he's flying. He's a happy boy. You know, it's not just a later model bike, but it's right down to all the latest model. I had a quick catch up with Mirigali before the show, and he said they're getting through like as planned because of dry track time, and but they haven't decided. All he hopes is they've decided on an engine before the end of tomorrow. That's all they've got to tell us. I can completely understand that, because the Yamaha is a good bike, an easy bike to ride. It is competitive if they get the right setting on that chassis. I think they got a little bit lost this year, and the right engine and electronics, you know, so yeah, that's it.
Simon, the last couple of years, of course, MotoGP, it's been all about two manufacturers really, Honda versus Ducati. You can see on the screens now Danilo Petrucci and Andrea Dovizioso at a Ducati 1-2 at the moment. The GP19 has come out of the gate really, really impressive in this test in Jerez, and when we resume testing action in Malaysia in 2019 in early February, are crucial for Yamaha. They've got to find something. They've got to turn up with a better spec motor for that test in Sepang. Otherwise, Valentino Rossi and Maverick Vinales, they're going to be banging their heads, or feel like they're banging their heads, against a brick wall, Steve. At the moment, not good enough.
No, it's not, and it's we mentioned this in Valencia as well. They have to both pick the same engine. They can't go for
different left shoulder, or those left shoulder problems. He's got to try and push an attack within his limits at this stage, because we know he's got surgery coming up very, very shortly to correct and repair that damaged left shoulder, which has caused him so many issues, certainly in the second half of the season. When you think that he's not 100% fit, and that's at the back of his mind, the lap times he's been cutting in both Valencia and in Jerez, it just shows how confident, how comfortable Marc Marquez is at the moment. Not only on the 2018 motorcycle, he won the championship one this year, but the two 2019 specs that HRC have come with. We talked about it, didn't we, Steve, in Valencia? It does look like that HRC again have stolen the march on their rivals. They're ahead of the game. Marquez has already tried that version 1 of the RC213V a few weeks ago in Aragon. That's allowed HRC to work on the bike in Japan, then come with a second evolution. Most manufacturers at this stage, they turned up to Valencia with their first versions of next year's bike, so they're already playing catch-up to a manufacturer that doesn't really need any helping hand.
Well, yeah, as we see here, the footage of Marc Marquez out in Jerez. Let's go and see if we can catch up with a man who knows a thing or two about it. The team manager drafted in for 2018, of course. He's got his team at last, the dream team of Marc Marquez and Jorge Lorenzo, with 12 world championships between them.
Really impressed with Franco Morbidelli. He said the bike, it's so smooth as butter. If you ride that Yamaha, Steve, with that finesse, that silky smooth riding style, that's what you need to get the best out of it. That's why Jorge Lorenzo is so strong on that bike for so many years. Got to say as well, you know, Fabio Quartararo, he has really impressed me as well, Steve. These two guys, they're new to Yamaha. Morbidelli's got the 1-year experience over Quartararo. I think as well, this new team, Petronas SRT, getting Wilco Zielenberg and Ramon Facada from the factory team. You've got then straight away two guys who are vastly experienced of Yamaha. They understand the systems. That team needs key figures like that to build the momentum up, let them hit the ground running. They'll learn quickly. Been really impressed with both their riders so far. I think more
what I can say about Maverick Vinales is that he's actually got a crew chief with him at long last.
Yeah, good to see Esteban Garcia, of course, a man who Maverick Vinales knows. He cherry-picked him, didn't he, from the KTM team. Esteban Garcia worked with Maverick Vinales, who we're looking at now from earlier on today in Jerez. They were together when Vinales won the 2013 Moto3 World Championship in such dramatic fashion against Alex Rins 5 years ago now. Esteban Garcia was contractually prevented from joining Maverick Vinales at that 2-day test in Valencia. Worth mentioning, of course, Vinales did top both days at the Ricardo Tormo circuit, but I think for fourth place today, a 1:38.376. I think still happy with a little bit more information gathered on those two brand new spec engines. It seems like
each lap more and more the feeling of the bike. It's not easy, so just get our time to reunite again more data together with Hafiz to progress even more with this bike.
I was going to say, it's you can't avoid the fact that the KTMs are a little bit off the pace at the moment at this particular track. Can you talk us a little bit more about why that is? What's going to be your plan for tomorrow?
Well, for me, it's a little bit hard to, first of all, to make the bike turn in the entry of the corners.
Bagnai knows that he's got a great chance to shine in the Alma Pramac Ducati team. The pressure off him in many respects, because one, he's a rookie, and two, he's not on the latest spec Ducati. He's on the year-old GP18, which we know in the hands of Andrea Dovizioso. Danilo Petrucci, who we're looking at now on screens, and Jorge Lorenzo, is a very fast and competitive motorcycle. Ducati have asked this man, Danilo Petrucci, prove to us that you are worthy of a second year. We'll take up that option on you, but only if you show us you can deliver, and we have got proof that we have got two riders in our factory.
Long run, and then at the end, before we stop, we do the same time as we do now. So I'm quite happy that if we put new tire, we can improve our lap time, and still need to learn step by step and try to get more comfortable with the bike. Now I start to to understand, to have a chemistry with this bike. You know, in Valencia it's new for me, new for the team to understand electronic, and then now we start to my bike start to get comfortable.
Johan Zarco, it's going to be a case of, you know, slowly catch your monkey. There's not a quick overnight fix. KTM out of nowhere, not just going to suddenly find 1 second to improve. Of course, I think we all expect Steve Johan Zarco to be much closer to what he has been. It has been a bit of an eye-opener. Talking of KTM rides, I think we're about ready to go down to speak to a man who had a fantastic finale to the end of 2018. KTM's
biggest challenge is, I told you before, for me, I think this Aprilia is still on progress, and for sure if we can try to put them in a position that sometimes they can be close to the top guy or reduce the gap.
But I think, yeah, it's a tough thing to do, and it sounds like Johan Zarco's having to go through the same process.
You there with Valentino Rossi. He didn't seem entirely happy with life at the moment with those 2 new engines. Is he, do you think, or are Yamaha as worried as what Valentino sounded?
Yeah, you know, it seems like they want to choose an engine before going to Sepang, and my feeling is he's not. I mean, Maverick seems pretty positive about it. He thinks it's better, but it seems like Valentino, like I was listening as well, and also watching body language in the garage, and it seems like Valley is not completely happy with the 2 choices. I think there's a chance they'll turn up to Sepang with something else, you know, because they have another. They have till after Sepang, you know, that's the last chance. But yeah, you know, I don't